before even preparing. What are we? I forgot. What are we supposed to be talking about today?
Oh, you
The
can.
presidential debate,
Yeah,
or
we
just
could.
like the presidency in
No,
general?
we could talk about the debate. Like we could just talk about what we really honestly think about it at this point.
Yeah, because I mean, who's gonna judge us?
Everybody, no
And
matter what.
who cares?
Who
Who
does
cares?
care?
Because anybody that is super passionate about Trump or super passionate about Kamala, I question your common sense because they're both not great. Like we really need to come to that consensus. Like I understand that you're like, well, one is better than the other, and that's a fine way to think about it. But just like 100%, oh, I love Kamala. Like she would be great for the job. I wouldn't say all that.
Well,
I wouldn't say all that.
like I'm gonna come from a neutral and a place of like just independent and just looking at both sides objectively. I really just saw the debate as a one-sided onslaught, you know.
Mm.
And the reason why I think it's like a one-sided onslaught was because I think the biggest thing for me was the fact that Trump was getting fact checked the whole time, but they couldn't give the same courtesy to Kamala for her statements. It was almost saying, like, implying that everything she said was true out the gate. Everything that she negated never happened. But I believe, like, out of fairness, at least on the smallest level, like, she should have been fact checked because
Absolutely.
we know from actually researching and looking up certain
But she
topics,
lied about several things at the debate.
like
But
what.
they fact checked Trump I think 4 times, and then they fact checked her 0. And afterwards, I guess ABC was like, "Oh, we did some more fact checking," and Kamala ended up telling like 3 or 4 lies, and I think they said Trump told like 17. And I was like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's totally."
and it's like I'm not like a Trump lover, but it's like I'm just really looking at
Yeah.
a point of fairness. It was just like, yo, it was not a real moderator. It was geared towards one party or one central narrative that whole time. It didn't
Exactly.
have even a place for the other side to impose their narrative. At least then you can have like a real discussion between two ideologies
But I
in a
mean,
sense.
Trump did not want to do the debate on ABC from the beginning. Like as soon as they were like ABC's hosting the presidential debate, Trump was about to be like, I don't want to do it because he just knew because ABC is a liberal news station and we all know that. So for anyone that is like so totally liberal or so obviously conservative, they probably shouldn't be the ones to host the presidential debate. I bet if like they announced like, oh, the presidential debate is going to be on Fox, like liberals probably would have freaked out and been like, this isn't fair, this isn't going to be fair. What are they going to have like Tucker Carlson mediate? That's not going to
But
like it would have been a shit show, and it still was because it was bipartisan, but like in the other way, it made it a shit show either way.
and like I think with in that line of thinking for me, the same could be said if it was a reverse script, like if it was
Yeah,
majority conservative Republican,
exactly,
like Fox News or something like that.
exactly.
And like I really think that there needs to be like that third party representation of neutrality in a sense, not
Where's
necessarily
the
that.
Green Party news station?
I mean, it's like,
Where's the Independent Party news station? Can they host the debate since they don't have candidates? Actually, apparently they do. So I
damn, she
know
said apparently
RFK
they do.
Jr. RFK Jr. was running under the Independent Party, I think,
Uh-huh.
and then he dropped out and endorsed Trump. And apparently, the Green Party actually has a candidate. I didn't even know that. My mom told me
Did
that the
y'all
other
know
day.
that? Because I didn't know that either. Do you
I
know
don't know
that?
what their name is.
See, that's how much we don't know. We just know that they
They
exist.
do exist, apparently.
And that's sad because is a democracy just based on two parties, like
It is.
integrally?
It is. At
But is
this
that a true
point, it is.
democracy? You know what I'm
No, of
saying?
course
That's what I
not.
was saying. That's what I was getting to,
Yes. Okay. It is at this point, though. Like, I remember through my extensive watch of research in history, mainly just rewatching Hamilton way too many times, that in his like final regards, George Washington literally was like, I want to warn against bipartisan fighting. Like, please do not just become one side versus the other. And here we are, making you proud, George.
Live and direct on one of the most. We keep saying every year that these elections get wilder and wilder, but it's almost to the tippity top. You feel me?
We literally have a man that was a reality TV star that gets spray tans to look orange, and a woman who like slept her way to the top and for some reason lies about being black. It's weird.
And people are going to be like, how can you say such a thing? But I'm going to be real. Growing up here in DC,
allegedly,
like my black does not look like her black. Like the people in my community where I'm from, we don't have those shared experiences, shared values, and the ones that are fortunate may come from like what she tried to say, a middle class household. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm honestly, and then it's the craziest part was multiple times, and and there were too many videos, too many articles about this. Like in 2019, she was running as like the first woman
Indian American presidential candidate, and that was like, and that was back in like 2016.
But that was 2016.
She was like Indian for a really long time, and then it was like, oh well, my dad's from Jamaica, so, and it's like, that there could be Indian people living in Jamaica. That doesn't make them Jamaican.
And you know what? These are like two separate cultures of colored people that don't share the values of like American black people to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying?
And on top of that, she wasn't even raised by her Jamaican father. Like every time she talks about it, she's like, oh, it was me, my mom and my sister, and me, my mom and my sister, me, my mom and my sister. She never even mentions that man, for real.
Yeah. And even like how when we noticed prior footage of her speaking to a lot of conventions, a lot of pro-black, mostly black conventions for the Democratic Party, that accent thing got me, where it sounds like she's trying
to thank a union member. Pay leave. You better thank a union member. Like, you can just tell homegirl was coached. Like, you had to have been coached. I have never heard you speak like that ever. Like, what are we talking about?
Man.
And it's like, if that's the way that you talk, and then all of a sudden, so we're just code switching so that way white people will vote for us. Is that it? Like, what are we doing then at that point? If that's actually the way that you speak, we're just code switching to sound more professional.
And it's just like, with all of, like, these are examples of what we take in consideration. But again, I'm not pro-Republican or conservative, but if that is my option, like, you're going to placate the fact that I'm black, right? And just really throw that in my face, truly. And
it's
I'm
such
like,
a weak argument.
Not even just a weak argument. It's kind of feels disrespectful, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know not everybody might share that same sentiment because people might not look at it in such a manner, but I'm trying to tell you, like, there's something very vicious about, playing a card whenever it's convenient. Like, if you ran out the Indian card, you use the black card, you joke about smoking weed, you talk about how you grew up eating collard greens. And I remember when I was a little boy, like back in 2003, I saw your ass like alongside Montel, and you could look that footage up right now. And I'm just like, I remember seeing you on reality TV shows. Like, that was you before. Some people be like, people grow, but I'm like, this is your humble beginning, yo. Like, it's a weird kind of connection, but I'm just like, yo, there's something just off about everything about that whole situation a little bit.
Exactly. And I think that something that people aren't taking into account is the fact that, like, she is talking about all of these plans. Like, all she was talking about at the debate is like, I have a plan for this, I have a plan for that, like, I have these plans, Trump doesn't have any plans for you, and the plans he does have are terrible. And it's like, girly pop, you have all these plans, you're currently in power. Like, why aren't we why do you just have the plan now? You've been in charge for the past like almost 4 years. You didn't do any of these plans that you've had. And so, like, I was talking to my mom about it the other day, and she was saying that she believes that Kamala really is like working for the people and like, and has that integrity. And I was like, I really disagree with that, because if she did, she would have came up with these plans a while ago, But we only started coming up with plans once we decided we were running for president of the United States. And that's disingenuous.
I think that she always had her plans, but in a way they benefit people that believe in what she believes in. So example, like,
that's supposed to be Democrats. That's supposed to be liberals. That's supposed to be people of color, POC.
But like, from what I could read, what I researched, what we looked at, like one glaring policy was probably that the gun control policy about the automatic weapon bans. And honestly, with more thought, I wouldn't be like ban automatic weapons, but we see they're being used for like school shootings and stuff like that, and it gives
which is terrible. Actually, but hers isn't even a ban automatic, a weapons ban. Hers was an assault weapons ban.
But most of the assault weapons are like
argue what an assault weapon is.
I mean,
because there is automatic, but there's also semi-automatic. But you can argue that even a regular gun is an assault. You can create an assault with that weapon.
I think on a level, you're kind of right. We're both kind of right in this sense, But that was something that I can actually see that she wanted to impose because of her prior history, and that's what I implore all the viewers. Is like when you hear something, you see it on TV. Like, that there's a slew and world of other information. Like, you could actually read for yourselves outside of like a news station or a media channel.
Yeah.
Like the actual stuff if you choose to, because for a long time, like, I voted Democrat. My family has been very Democratic and liberal. I thought I was doing the right thing. Thought I was just trying to vote for, everybody and just the betterment of everybody. But ultimately, I started realizing it was almost throwing like an overarching narrative, like those are the bad guys, those are the bad guys, those are the bad guys. But I'm like, all right,
good guys and bad guys, no guys in between.
But exactly, I'm like, okay, why are we really the good guys? That was like my biggest thing. Was like, okay, what makes us the good guys? Is it the whole premise, the purpose, the mission statement? These are things are like words, but like what's actually happening and playing out in real time? Like, what are the actions and effects of the policies? Don't judge the policy based off the idea. Judge it based off of the actual effectiveness. Like, once it's in action, once it's in law and written, like, what has happened after? That's what I kind of look at things as. And honestly, things have been crazier when we've been voting Democrat the whole time. And I'm not saying crazy in like a discriminatory way, but crazy as stuff was just stopped making sense a while ago.
And I will say that I don't even think that it's like since we've been voting Democrat, because like I think that Barack Obama did a really great job, in all honesty.
All right, fair. Yeah.
Like, we have to think about the fact that we have the knowledge of what it feels like to live with Biden, with Trump in office. Like, we know what it's like to live under a Trump presidency, and we know what it's like to live under a Biden-Harris administration. You know what I mean? Like, although she wasn't president, and people keep arguing that, they're like, well, she's not president. Well, she's not president. And I'm like, you are vice president. And our current president is like almost about to die with dementia. Like, there's no way that you were not in those rooms also helping make those decisions. I'm sure you were there. I also blame you for the way that things are right now, and they're terrible. And 2016 to 2020, I was better off, and I will say this for myself, but also for like the community around me. I feel like people in general were better off 2016 to 2020 than they were 2021 to now.
And you know what? Honestly, I had to really think about that to myself. And is it fair to say like I didn't really feel the effects personally of everything going on outside of the scope of life for a moment, but I can say that visually, this youngin is going off. Hey,
calm down.
Stop, sir. You're a guest.
I'm here.
You're a guest.
I don't know why you're being all crazy.
And then he left
because he has
howl of fur on me.
He has his socks on, and he hates his socks.
I know. Like, chill out, Brody. But like, I could say like visually, like what I noticed was when the Biden Kamala Harris administration was in effect. Look at everything that's happening right now.
Exactly.
Now here's something I'm trying to be fair on. Like, I don't know just to the extent in which the previous administration, the Trump administration, has like laid the foundation for these things to come, and they
Mm-hmm.
were exacerbated by the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, and Biden
Mm-hmm.
party. Now that is something I don't truly know,
There are a
but
lot of things that Trump put in place that they still have in place today.
mm, that's true. I wish I could speak on that a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that like even from I think the biggest glaring point for me is the Gaza conflict. It's like, yo, what's the current administration and what's their response, regardless of what their intents are, what they say they want to do, what is happening, what
I
kids are
mean,
dying,
let's
generations are gone,
let's discuss the
everything.
fact that
Like
like
what?
people were so scared about Trump becoming president because they were like World War III, World War III, and it's like Trump is adverse to war. Trump, will you calm down? Trump is adverse to war. He has always said that he has been adverse to war. Like there were no wars when he was president. Do we forget that? And like since Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been in charge, we've been involved in three. Were we directly in combat? No. But are we funding the hell out of it? Yes. Like this is not great. This
Yeah.
is not better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then on top of that, the border crisis is like becoming a genuine crisis. People are kind of getting a little crazy,
Yeah.
and like they're dropping off busloads worth of people. Venezuelans are sending their criminals to our border because they know that they're going to be let in, which is terrifying. That there are now like people from Venezuela that were in prison that were dropped off here, and we just let them in, and that's terrifying. And they're like taking over apartment buildings in Colorado right now, and it's like a Venezuelan gang kind of thing. Like obviously there are regular Venezuelans that probably want asylum, but they're also being shipped in with people that are like that. So what is it? It's called like TDA or something like that. It's terrifying. And just the economy has been horrendous. Everybody understands inflation so much and are impacted by it so much heavier now than they were back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just a wide variety of things that just were better before. He looks so mad. There are a variety of things that were just better before than they are right now.
And I honestly believe that when you really look at it, like that's what we should judge like candidacy off of. It's not like the empty promises anymore. I think we're long past the point in which you have to simply just believe what somebody says. You have the ability, and if you have the resources to research and find out for yourself, to really know what you're going to align yourself with. Like as far as the border crisis, like you said it like best. The biggest thing is, criminals do get mixed in with common folk, regular life civilians, and there's honestly, and if we're talking about illegals, we're not talking about people seeking asylum that have actually went through the process, but they do get unfortunately lumped in with that connotation too.
Yeah, like no one's pushing for deportation of people
Oh
that have
yeah,
now
of course.
become
No, no,
American
no, no.
citizens. That's insane.
But the reality is, we can't. It's hard to differentiate. Even a person with papers could be with a crime syndicate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so easy. My thing is this has been a point of contention for so long, and I don't believe that we should just leave them open.
No.
While we're deliberating what the next step is. Like if other countries can close their borders, why must we remain open at the detriment of possible events spewing out? You feel me?
Venezuela closed its borders after they dropped their criminals off here.
Purposefully, like,
what?
And y'all could look that up too as well, and y'all could fact check that too as well.
Please
but
do.
It is very true. The Venezuelan government has come out with several statements on camera speaking about this directly. Like it was a plan of action to decrease the crime overall in Venezuela, and just to make room for the prisons and the advent for new potential crimes. So they dropped the most dangerous ones pretty much on the border of us, just say,
because they knew they were gonna be let in.
But you know what? I don't even think that they knew that they were gonna be let in. I think partially, and maybe this is with good intention, that they thought that they wouldn't make it.
Wouldn't make it here?
Yeah.
I really hope that they thought that, and not just like, oh, these people are going to terrorize them. But I mean, at least it's not us. Like, I really hope that they thought they wouldn't make it. But Like, you know, America, the American dream. You can come here and become whatever you want, especially a gang member. Especially a gang.
Y'all gotta understand, like, history in America, like, the major money we have ever amassed is through what? Conflict. War.
War.
War gets money. War on terrorism. That's not even a war on
War on
something.
drugs.
That's not even a war on person. War
It's
on
not.
drugs. These are wars on concepts. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Like, usually when you have a war, there's a focal point. Like, there's a king, there's a tyrannical general. See, that started changing when, like, Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, and
Exactly.
then the
Like, why?
true and
I
then
was just about to say, why do you think we were in the Middle East for so long?
and the crazy part is when you start reading about them specifically, you get a whole nother narrative than the one we were fed and learned and led to believe for so long. Now, whether I'm not saying I'm pro either, it's just a different narrative. So you
Yeah.
get to decide for yourself, like, what's really true, the land in which they hail from or the land in which we live in. So, you know, it's just like a deeper level of thinking on that right now.
You know, one conspiracy theory that I genuinely have always been like, I believe that.
What?
9/11.
Ooh, right after 9/11 is a crazy
There's
time to get
a
into it, but let's get into it.
there's a part of me, like, even as a
You
child,
remember
as
seeing
I
it?
was younger, I do not remember seeing it
Oh, you
at
never saw
all.
it on TV?
I mean, no,
I
like
remember the same
I was
day.
4, headed to kindergarten. It happened at like 6 a.m. for me. I was on the West Coast. No, I do
Oh
not
yeah,
remember seeing it.
man. I could go ahead and give my story. I was attending Thurgood Marshall Elementary School in DC. That shit does not even exist anymore. So you
You
know
were
this
in
is.
kindergarten.
Now I remember it was so polarizing though. I remember because it was lunchtime. We just got our goldfish. We laid the mats out and they let us play. We got like an indoor playground and stuff. School was actually kind of big in retrospect. But we were all just watching TV. We had a little box TV in the corner. We were watching the Men in Black animated show. Remember the old, yeah.
But I mean, didn't this happen at like 9 a.m.? I'm surprised that they didn't.
I'm pretty.
Well, they probably just
nah,
weren't trying to
I don't
scare
think
you
it.
all.
I really don't think it was 9 a.m. I really think it was like sometime in the noon.
It was?
I'm pretty sure it was for me at least because cartoons like that didn't really come on that early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I kind of gauged time off of cartoons as a kid. So
Yeah. Well, I thought you all were watching like a VHS or something.
no. It wasn't VHS. It was like a actual like WB. Remember the WB channel and stuff like that with Seventh Heaven and all. You know.
I do not.
Bless your heart.
Thanks.
Just bless your soul.
We are the same age, by the way.
Yeah, we
I
are.
don't want this to like.
We're
make
both
it seem-
27, so it's
Yeah.
like
We're a month apart.
truly October and November, a Scorp and a Libra.
Guess who's who in the comments?
People were like, "Oh my god!" And you know what? You know what's actually crazy? Because I remember in the middle of the episode, it was like in the middle of the episode, it cut off into a breaking news, and it was live the reports of the actual accident. And matter of fact, I lied. That was after. I remember they were getting reports of like a hijacked plane, and it was already cut to New York. And I literally saw that the whole building crumble. Notice my key word. I saw a building crumble
from being hit.
From being hit on the side. Like that's the thing that I knew. And like I'm like as a kid, cartoons. I played video games with guns and stuff. Go boom. I know when I hit a building, it don't fall straight down. The thing topples over. Like that looked like it looked like a controlled explosion. Now that I'm older and now that I kind of understand, it really did look like a controlled explosion. And call me a conspiracy theorist because people actually died. I can't.
People did actually die,
but it's not from the reason that I think that they tried to tell us. You know?
think that that's why it's so much more important to really dig into 9/11 and what did happen and like was this like a hoax or like whatever. That's the reason why it's so important because people did die. This is if I had a family member that passed away during 9/11, I would not rest until I absolutely knew every detail I could possibly know and be so sure that the government did not do this to us on purpose.
And you know what's the craziest part? And people don't understand, like, we were worried about both of those, the World Trade Center just coming down, but there was a smaller building that fell down and it got hit by absolutely nothing. absolutely nothing. What was it? World Trade Building 7 4 or 7 is one of those. But I remember seeing that and I was like, wait a minute, what did nothing hit? Nothing fell. There was no debris. I thought maybe because both of them fell, the surrounding shockwave knocked it. I started going to. I just started deep diving. I was trying to make sense out of how does a smaller scale building that didn't get hit just randomly.
And honestly, I'm sure like, that's what a lot of us did. A lot of us probably were just trying to figure out what and why because we didn't really know. We couldn't really understand.
I know, but it's like I know what I saw though
because the media rationalized it for us. That's the reason why we watched it. You know, through the eyes of the news, they told us the narrative as the narrative was happening.
Exactly.
It was very.
It's like playing with you right in your face. It's like because I know what I saw. You're not going to keep telling me that what I saw was not true, yo.
Yeah.
It's live. It's different when it was pre-recorded, but when something is live and then you're trying to say you didn't see that
exactly what's happening.
You're telling me this is what happened. Like they literally tried to say that in the Pentagon, man, the plane that crashed vaporized from fucking jet fuel.
What?
That was like one of the official statements. You could literally Google that shit.
The plane that was supposed to hit the Pentagon that crashed vaporized?
Man, like it sounded so crazy, but I had to Google that. I had to make sure I looked that up a couple times. That was an actual statement. And then there was another plane crash outside of Virginia, and they couldn't find the pieces of the plane crash at all. Like, there was too much shit weirdly associated with that time period.
Oh, and you know, they said that they found some of the terrorist passports from 9/11 just, like, around, like, the building. Just like, oh, yeah, like, this paper passport must have fallen out with the luggage and landed right here. And so here's how we can see who the terrorists were. That is insane. It's paper. It's a little bitty booklet, little bitty passport, and it survived a plane crash and the Twin Towers. Like, there's no way.
It's just like, yo, and if they would do this to us, but I saw, did you know what happened after all that? What immediately happened?
Oh, well, the country decided to unify itself to basically hate everyone in the Middle East. So that way we could invade the Middle East and get their oil.
AKA the War on Terror. Like, remember we were talking about war on drugs? That's literally what you can argue that was the reckoning to start the war on terror, which gave us a reasoning to go to another place to do something. Whatever we wanted to do, it gave us a reason
and
to
so
go
when
over.
We saw that that those people were suffering, when we saw that children were dying, when we saw that, you know, people and their families were being bombed, we shrugged our shoulders about it a little bit because we were like, well, they did bad stuff to us, so now we can go do bad stuff to them. And it made Americans feel fine about it. Like, oh, well, it's fine because they're responsible for 9/11, and so we're responsible for, you know, a bunch of their people dying too, and that's just war. And it's all okay.
Like, I don't think any of us here in America ever understands the true capacity of war.
No.
Like, I think if you like history and you study history, though you're not there, you could keep reading about like centuries of conflicts, like, and it never ends well. Like, we learned from World War One that was one of the bloodiest wars in history, yo, because nobody was prepared. Everybody was literally looking on one flat side on the trench, and then one people pop up, shoot, the other person pop up, shoot. When it gets too demanding, everybody bum rush. It's just bodies everywhere. Nobody had the technology we had now, so you know stuff was brutal. Nobody was being saved if you got sick or nothing. Like, it's like, yo, war, like, it is crazy. But the thing is, like, I tell people, the manufacturer of the arms in World War One for whoever had guns, what was it? Remington, Colt. These are American manufacturers, and they just make guns. I don't blame them. So they come from a lineage of families that made just guns. Winchester, you know. So when they sold to the highest bidder,
and the highest bidder just so happened to be the United States government
and other countries too. They supplied other countries that we were actively going against too, because again, you're an arms dealer.
They do not mind
legally.
They are not bound to be like America first. Some of them are just like, hey, this is a business.
So you can only imagine, like, by sending troops in Ukraine to fund a conflict that we have nothing to do with. Have nothing. Well, we do. NATO allies. that I do agree with
Did we?
NATO.
Did everybody give money? Did everybody give as much money as we gave? Did the rest of
I don't
NATO
know.
help as much as we did? Did they give? I just want to, I should probably look that up, but we gave them quite a bit of money. And I just want to know, was like everybody doing that? Because I don't feel like everybody was doing that. I feel like that was a America specific thing. I think other countries probably gave.
Yeah,
I don't think they gave
give
as
as
much as
much.
we did.
Yeah, because it's like, I think the thing about it is you don't want to leave a superpower that's becoming more unhinged unchecked, and I understand the realization why you would want
Yeah.
to contain and quell that. Why people want to quell like a North Korea. If he were to trip the fuck out
Mm-hmm.
all the way, he would. People like that would be
Yeah.
liable to hit the button, and that's the scariest thing. So I can understand that, but when you actively fuel the conflict, you escalate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people understand the terms of
Like what
engagement
we're
or
doing
escalation.
in
Yeah, it's a
we're doing
passive.
that in Gaza
It's
right
a
now, in Israel right now, where we're helping fund this war that has just gone way too far. And it's crazy because I think it's something that the right and the left actually agree on. And so I'm surprised that they didn't touch on it more during the presidential debate, because people on the left and the right both see
mm.
the amount of children that are dying, because like the child population in Gaza is huge. And so there's
What
so
was it,
many
like
kids
50% of
that
the population are
it's
children? This is a
children.
fact, yo.
And so, of course, that's why we're seeing all of these children like passing away. We're seeing all of these bombings, and we're seeing what it's doing to their country because of social media. And so everybody keeps saying like, "Oh, we want this to stop. We want our government to stop funding it. Like, oh, like support Palestine and all of these things." And like some people genuinely go too far with it. I don't think we know enough about Palestine to be like support Palestine, but I definitely think that we can stop giving money to Israel. I definitely think that we can stop there. I think that we have done enough, and the fact that we're just sitting by and letting it happen because of what happened on October 7th last year is crazy, because they have, rebutted, but now we're just doing stuff, and the left and the right both agree on that. And yet we had a presidential debate and they didn't talk about it much.
And you know what's crazy? Like, this has gone beyond like a war or conflict. This is straight up a genocide, yo. When you
Yeah.
destroy schools, when you destroy history, when you destroy
Hospitals.
generations of families, dog, it is no longer a conflict. This is straight on, full on frontal assault. It's like
Mm-hmm.
damn near an eradication effort,
Yeah.
like of a whole
Of their
people.
entire
and
people.
and and the thing about it is, a lot of us Americans, we have no ties to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict unless you come
Yeah.
from a descendant of Israeli or Palestinian
Yeah.
of heritage. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people don't understand how deep this conflict goes, how much of the socioeconomic and religious issues that tied these two places together. And when they say free somebody, what are you freeing from? Because at one point, this other person was the oppressors, and they might have been the oppressors at a point when we were never born, our grandparents were never born, but
Mm-hmm.
those people still remember. See, people underestimate the folly of malice, yo. Like, you don't understand how deep that can go, and this is one of those deep seated things. So when you arm somebody that has a deep seated hatred and conflict, history of conflict,
With another group.
a chance to end it all finally, would you imagine like them taking it? You probably think, nah, that's not what happened. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to take the opportunity and they're going to run it all the way to the field goal line, like to
And
get a
that's
touchdown.
terrifying. That's
Yeah.
terrifying that we're sitting by and letting them do that. And then we're actively giving them money to help them do that is terrifying and terrible. And we have to remember, this is currently happening, brought to you by the Biden Harris administration.
You know what? And when I think about it, I think all parties in the government are now complicit now. It's not just the one in charge. Everybody's complicit now.
Mm.
Because this is now one of those things where all money is not just Democratic money, it's not just conservative money, it's
You're right.
all money. Everybody is now complicit while we're watching this, because I think a lot of us are shocked because we wouldn't want that to happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. We damn sure wouldn't want that to happen to us. So now we're just sitting here watching it live and direct. We were too young to really understand the scale of Iraq or Operation Desert
Yeah.
Storm or the war in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
We could go back now and see, like, ooh, that shit was pretty
That was
damn bad
brutal.
too on both sides, like major losses for real. And now we're just watching like a one-sided attack. it's not like Ukraine could
My
fight back,
gosh.
but like I'm not even saying they didn't fight back. It's like the Ukrainian effort was backed by all of this now, and they
Mm-hmm.
still taking heavy losses and casualties, but are still inflicting heavy losses on to Russia and their military force. But this is just a
Mm-hmm.
straight like if David and Goliath were in the ring and
Yeah.
David forgot the damn rock.
Yeah.
This is what is happening right now.
It's vicious. And it makes me think about why we didn't talk about it at the presidential debate. It makes
Mm-hmm.
me think about what is it, why do we just kind of let Israel do whatever we want, whatever they want, which is weird. Um, and then like, why are we just there's so much that I just don't like about the country right now. There's so much that I question. There's so much that I just don't believe that I'm like, there's no way that this is, you're telling me what this is. You're telling me that, oh, well, we talked to the city manager, so we know that nothing's happening in Springfield, Ohio. The city manager said that there's no evidence of that. I mean, we already fact checked it before you even got here, Trump, so we already know. And
Oh, I'm gonna speak on
let's
this so
not
much.
talk about the fact that there is a genuine problem.
There's a
There's a
problem,
problem.
y'all.
The Springfield, Ohio population went from 60,000 and then it's increased by 15 to 20,000 Haitian immigrants. That is a 1/3 population jump. Imagine if the place that you lived got 1/3 larger in like a year. You would feel claustrophobic. That would feel so annoying. Like I can't imagine. And then for them to like, be so different and like have a different culture. And like, I understand that, it takes a little while to like learn new things and assimilate and all of that. But we also can't be taking the ducks out of the reservoir and chopping their heads off and taking them home to eat.
Well, let me tell you what's the crazy part about this is like when they said it and when Trump said that, I was like, what the hell? Like you could have phrased that better. Even if it
Exactly.
wasn't true, I'm like, what the hell? But more importantly,
He
like,
didn't say it right. He said it in a way that like made people laugh at it. Like, oh my gosh, that's laughable. That's the reason why there's a sound trending on TikTok
yeah,
right
like, you know
now
what I'm
about it.
saying?
And it's like, but he's not wrong. Like, please remember that like in all of this, he's not wrong that like there is a problem. He's not wrong that there are Haitian immigrants that are like, eating animals that we, don't normally eat here in America.
But
Like it may not be your household cat or household dog, but like I would also be a little like, if I just saw somebody grab a duck out of the local
no,
pond
like
and
check
chop
it
its
like
head off
this.
and walk
Nah, I
away.
wouldn't even go far as to say I believe it like this. Like this is what I witnessed, right? As soon as they said that, I went online and I started trying to look up actual reports and stuff, and I started seeing police reports.
Mm-hmm.
Then the what was it? The governor of Ohio made an official statement, or the governor of that area, or
The
some big
city
city official,
manager.
yeah, pretty much.
I didn't even know cities had managers. I thought they had
That's it was a
mayors.
city manager. Okay, so the city manager put out an official statement debunking that whole argument. So I go on the X. I just don't start going on the various social media platforms. So I went on the X real quick, and it wasn't a mixed reception, but it was glaringly obvious. Like it was some people that were just commenting with like they're just lying and stuff. I'm like, all right, you're not really helping me right here trying to understand. But then when I started getting to the citizens in the area, they started talking about their experiences, and it paralleled with this is not true, that's not true, that's not true. And then it made me very confused. So I just stood in the middle, and I'm still kind of currently on the middle of that. I'm like, who am I inclined to believe? Like the actual people that live there, that normal people like you and I, or just a media entity, or my political
Exactly.
party, or the actual the state level government of that area. Like it made me really get to a point where it's like, yo, I don't know what's happening, but I can truly see that this, whatever you just told me, is not all the way true, yo. So if people
Exactly.
wouldn't be saying, I don't think that everybody says big brash claims all of the time out of just like trying to be like, oh,
Edgy.
controversial. I think there's a little grain of truth as to why a person would even say certain shit in the first place. And that is just so
Exactly.
glaring. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? And just to sit there and read all that discourse and the mixed reception and the mixed information, I'm like, I can see why motherfuckers are confused right now, bro.
Because it is confusing because we're finally at the day and age where we don't just have to listen to what's said through the media. We don't just have to listen to what's said on the news. We genuinely can think for ourselves and like hear from people that live there. You can hear people's experiences. Like there are people from Springfield, Ohio that are talking about things like this on X and on TikTok and on Facebook. Like you don't just have to hear it from ABC, Fox News, CNN anymore. You can talk to people. And so therefore it's like it is confusing because we're so used to just listening to what the media and the news tells us that we just assume that they're telling us the right thing, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's not like, like they tell us what they would like us to believe. Each party is going to influence their ultimate mission at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, and their whatever their purpose is. That's what the rhetoric is going to be catered towards. So if you're a liberal, you're going to hear mostly liberal ideas, statements, propaganda. If you're conservatives, vice versa. Very rarely do people go to the other side just to get more informed on what the other side thinks about
And you
maybe a
have to do
current
that.
issue.
You
Yeah.
have to do that. You have to listen to both sides. I watch YouTube videos of people that like love Trump and want him to be president so bad. And I watch
She
YouTube
damn sure
videos
do.
of people that love Kamala Harris and want her to be
Whew,
president so bad.
damn sure do.
So, and it's because they both have points. Like no one side is 100% correct, right or left, red or
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah.
That's just not true. Everybody has, different morals, different values, different things that they think are important to them. And that's the reason why people are able to, pick a side because it aligns more with what they believe. And that's perfectly fine. Everyone's allowed to do that. But we'd be insane to say that one side is 100% right. My side is 100% right and they're 100% wrong is kind of crazy.
I could like give a parallel just to like where we live right now, like DC, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like one of the most liberal cities next to like California
Yeah.
or
New York.
or yeah, New York is a blue state, isn't
New
it?
York is a blue state.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it is a blue state. Okay. But here, like, could you say like the quality of living just overall here is that great right now?
No,
Exactly. Like crime is on the rampant. We got juvenile crime at an astronomical high.
it's
We got
bad.
carjackings all the way up, man.
It's
Gun
bad.
violence spiking. Like we're a small city. Our population is only about 650K, and it's only like what is like an 8 mile radius between this whole city.
It
Like
is quite
truly,
small.
that's why like like, and you get to see everything in volume
Mm-hmm.
magnified. You feel me? Because of those factors right there. And we had the same mayor for 3 years, pulling like a Kamala Harris on some real
Ooh.
shit.
Shout
And
out to the mayor if you're watching this. We don't really like you.
let me have my job though. I love you when you pay me with my money, but you wrong though. Your parents live in my neighborhood. I used to help them carry groceries in. Like, hey yo, you wrong.
Mm.
That's all I'm gonna say on that. Just all I'm gonna say.
I just need to get that
I
out.
need to get that out, man. Living right by Fort Time, Michigan Park. Yes, you we. You could do better. I'm not even going to criticize. You can do better for the people that have been here.
Mm-hmm.
Just like maybe the Democrats could have done better for the people that truly support them blindly
Exactly.
while they sit there and watch
Blindly,
everything
too.
burn to a certain degree.
Blindly,
To a
too. There are so many liberal people that I know that really will just be like, well, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. I could never listen to a Republican. I would never watch like, Candace Owens. I would never look at like Tucker Carlson's content. I would never like watch Fox News like just. And you realize that you're creating an echo chamber of people who only think like you. You have to listen to people that don't think like you. That's the whole point. And if you've never listened to somebody who doesn't think like you, I think that deep down you might be nervous that if you listen to it, you might agree.
And
And that might
damn,
crack
that's a good
your
point.
view of yourself or your view of the world around you. And a
Damn.
lot of y'all just aren't ready to do that. The dark night of the soul is not for everyone.
I mean,
Not everybody's there.
no. It is for everyone, but some will just
But
duck
not
and dodge
everybody's
it.
there.
Yeah.
Not
You're just not
everybody's
gonna get
there.
there. Like, and like that whole concept of like what is true to you. Perception is everything. Perspective is high key. What is true to you, though? Like, is your truth based on the things that you put your beliefs or you align your beliefs and your emotions with, was
Mm-hmm.
that be true? Is it true based on your experiences, or are you a person of truth based on the actual facts, numbers, things that necessarily cannot be changed or
And
influenced?
mind you, facts that you looked up, like not facts
That
that
somebody
somebody
told
told you
you
about on
something.
TikTok, not facts that somebody told you about on Facebook, not facts that somebody told you about on Instagram, not facts that somebody told you about in church,
Oof.
but that you read,
Oof.
then that's something to believe in.
And
If you read it, I believe it. If you're just telling me the regurgitated version of something that somebody once told you, what? We're not even talking about truth or knowledge at that point. We're
if you
just
play
talking.
telephone, how can you really get all the right information if you're all we're doing is now just a big game of telephone? Like, you don't got to play that game no more. Like, it doesn't say in the rules this is how it must go. Like, it
It's
said it
not.
must be true. I'm like, nah. Like, when you do telephone, man, somebody mess up the message eventually.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yo, do the research, man. Do the research, align yourself, make the right decision for you. And
Yes.
even just being, if you're on the fence like me about who do you align ideally with, be independent and keep looking on both sides. And then
As you
if
should.
you, and then cast your vote, because I do want everybody to vote, like
Yeah.
cast your vote with like the understanding, like this is the betterment for me and my situation and my family. And whatever you choose, like you just know you weren't going to take a risk on the other one based on what you've read. Now, how you
Mm-hmm.
feel, not maybe a little bit how you feel about it, but really just what are you reading? Because
Yeah.
that's more what's going to happen than what you felt. When you feel stuff, it's all up in the air.
Keyword reading, not watching.
Yeah,
Reading.
read. Yes, people read. That's a crazy word now. Say
It's
it with
so
me now.
taboo.
Read.
Why should I have to read? Somebody else read it and they told me about it. That's not enough?
Mm.
That's how y'all sound. That's ridiculous. Please.
Or matter of fact, if you trust the person that you're receiving the information on, are they qualified to give you the information, yo? Like,
For
just
real. Please.
like, even if you really believe in them and they know that they have your best intention at heart, are they really the ones to be trying to impart certain information on you? You got to look at stuff like that for real, yo, because they could still be good people, but maybe certain subjects or certain topics might not be ideally delivered by them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like one of those checks, because if you really just take the information from people that really care about you and they're wrong, it doesn't change that they still care about you. They're just really wrong and misinformed about stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not like always intentional. Like
At
sometimes
all.
people just are like
And
that.
that's the whole point. It's not intentional. It's just like one of those things.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we all just have to do our own research. And do your own research and then cast whatever vote you think is best for you. And that is perfectly fine. You don't have to do anything further than that. But you do have to do your research. That's the biggest point.
Yes.
Don't just listen to one side. Don't just listen to your echo chamber of people that always tell you that you're right, and never listen to the arguments of people on the other side. Listen to their arguments. See where they're coming from. I promise you, they're people just like you. They're not evil. They're not, the worst people in the world. They're not somewhere, praying to Satan or like plotting everyone's demise. They are human people, typically with families and friends and loved ones of their own, and they genuinely believe that this is the best option for them, and that is fine. These people are not terrible. They're just people.
Better yet, what was that good quote that we heard earlier? Even the most evil person in the world, heinous person, was at one point a 3-year-old.
Just like a kid, just like a person with like feelings and thoughts and motivations and backgrounds.
Doesn't justify if they was evil or not, but they were once that 3-year-old,
exactly.
that 4-year-old.
And whatever, so something about it, they like justified it. Something motivated most people to do the things that they do. And sometimes is it just like people being chemically imbalanced and crazy?
It could be, yes.
Sure. But most of the time, the people that we're talking about, the people on the right that you hate, the people on the left that you hate,
these are not that.
These are not
that's not that. Yeah.
These are just regular humans who just think differently from you, and that's okay. You don't have to stop being friends with people. You don't have to block people on Facebook. You don't have to like do any of the super dramatic things. You can just treat them like people and respect the fact that they have an opinion that's different from yours, and that's fine.
And exactly, and it won't hurt you to hear it, or if you don't want to hear it, you have the option just to walk away
Mm-hmm.
and just carry on. Like politics have become such a entertainment show now.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's because
And
we have two, reality stars running for
nah,
president.
she's not even a reality star. She was like a person, like probably a girl that looked really attractive and was able to get around a circle of influential people.
A
And from
groupie.
there, yeah, and from there, she could have cultivated her own interest, or was already pursuing some sort of interest prior to
Mm-hmm.
that. And that alongside what she was doing got her to where she was. Like, y'all just do some research about Trump and Kamala Harris. Both of
Please.
them, please do
Please.
extensive research. Like, not even extensive, but yeah, it's almost no. It's November's around the corner. Y'all would want to. And I'm trying to tell you, you might look at both of them differently. You might double down on what you thought. You might switch the side. You
Mm-hmm.
might be like, damn, this shit is fucked up. Just like that.
And
And
mind you, some of the people that are the loudest on the internet about who they're for and the fact that the other person is absolutely terrible, and if that person became president, the world would collapse, those are the wrong people to listen to.
oh yeah, they're
Because
dramatic,
what?
yo.
Those, they're
Straight up,
what?
they're dramatic as shit.
Dramatic. I thought you said demonic for a second. I was like, whoa,
Ooh, they're demonic.
crazy.
Ooh.
But yes, they are dramatic. They really are just doing far too much. Like if you have genuinely sat down and listened to both sides, can you have a preference and be like, yes, I want this person, and no, I don't want this person? Absolutely.
For sure.
But can you sit there and think that the world would collapse if one or the other became president?
Pregnant.
Pregnant. If
Oh,
one or the other
I
became
mean, that would be
president,
crazy, right?
that's
Pregnant president.
crazy.
You got the first pregnant president.
Kamala ain't having no babies.
Yeah, you never know.
Isn't that the right made a joke about that? They were like, "Oh, we don't want, childless cat ladies running the country or whatever because apparently they think they don't have like a stake in the country's future because they don't have children." I think that that's very dramatic. You're just saying that for like clickbaity stuff, and don't get me wrong, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
The people clicked on the bait.
Oh yeah, yeah. They would click. I would click too. I'm like, damn, that's kind of it's kind of mean, ain't it?
It is mean, but I mean, the right is known for being more blunt and bold than the left. So they
Yeah.
just say things like that, and it just gets trumped up to hee hee ha ha. The left is the ones that try to like placate everyone's feelings and be like, oh, well, if that's what you believe, then we will respect it. But I don't even want to get into that because that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, but since we're talking about it now, let me tell you the
No.
biggest. No, just one thing. Just one thing. I'm gonna let it go.
Quickly.
I'm gonna let it go. What grinds my gears, and we've been doing this for a long time. Stop having celebrities talk about politics,
Oh
please.
my gosh. John Legend,
Just in general, I don't care what
Springfield,
they. I don't
Ohio.
care.
That one pissed me off because that was recent. John Legend really got online talking about I'm from Springfield, Ohio, and like we should be very, happy and patient with the Haitian immigrants because they just came here to do what's best for their families. Honey, you don't live there. You do not live there. You actually have several homes, but your main one is in like Beverly Hills. I do not want to hear anything from you on what it's like to live in a city that's just that increased the population by 1/3 filled with people who don't share American values. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. How about you hire them? Since there are so many jobs here that they came here for, you hire them to clean one of your 7 homes. You can hire a family for each of them. And they can live there while you're not there because you can only live in one place at a single time. So it's fine. What's wrong with that? Except you're not going to do that. Why? Because you live in a nice, pretty gated community that you don't let bus loads worth of immigrants get dropped off in Beverly Hills. Now, do they? I wonder why that is.
Mm.
I don't want to hear it from you.
I was just about to say that, like, when people hit that status of success and money and capital and influence, like, I truly believe they slowly become far removed from just everyday life
Reality.
unless they choose to continuously interact with it, like a J.
Yeah.
Cole, Keanu Reeves
Yeah.
type of celebrity that continues to go around the public eye normally, like normal people. So
They
they
have
could,
to keep themselves grounded.
yeah,
I'm sure, because it must be
yeah.
so easy to just get drifted off in all the money and all the status and all the stuff that you just turn into
Ain't that
a
right,
shell.
black people? Don't we love that shit? That's a whole nother conversation, man. But Don't we love that type of glitz and glamour and shit to be so far removed with all that motherfucking money? That's a.
And speaking of celebrities talking about your political, situations, having Megan come to that Kamala rally or like DNC, I forgot which one it was, but having Megan twerk to body yada yada yada.
She didn't really twerk though.
While being, she didn't really twerk. They like definitely kept it cute and classy. But it wasn't classy because we're still saying body crazy, baby, big titty, little weight. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I don't care if you're not doing the dance move. Those are the lyrics to the songs.
That's crazy.
That we're at a political rally. We are supposed to be taking ourselves seriously. And here you are in a crop top, pantsuit, twerking on stage. I'm tired. And I don't know what white person, because it could not have been a black person. I don't know what person, I'm just going to say person, decided that this is what will get black people to vote for Kamala Harris. If we have one of their black female rap icons come here and do a little dancey dance. That couldn't have been to convince black people. I refuse to believe that was, you did that to convince me to vote for Kamala.
Because it damn sure ain't convinced me.
It had to be for somebody else. Maybe they were doing it for on some dance monkey dance so that white people would vote for Kamala or something. Because it couldn't have been to convince me. I know that was not the tactic. I feel disrespected. That is what you think I like, Democratic Party. You think that mixing in body yaddy yaddy with politics would sway me to your side is insane. Fine. Never play with me.
Yeah, I played with my girlfriend. I don't like it.
Never play with me.
I don't like it.
And as a person, I genuinely like Megan Thee Stallion's music. Truly, I do. But this is not the time nor the place. And y'all just think that we have no etiquette and manners to know that. But we do know that. And what y'all did was wrong.
Dead ass wrong. That's why we don't need any sort of celebrity in politics, yo. Politicians need to be in politics. Politicians need to advertise policies. Not my rapper that I listened to for 15 years. Not like some new up and coming artist or movie star. And the only way I'll accept that is, again, if they are grounded. And you'll know if they're grounded because the ones that are, they actually speak on what's right and what's wrong. But and they're too far and few in between.
Some of them are just so ungrounded. I really hate whenever, because you know that eventually Beyonce and Jay-Z gonna walk out and be like, vote Democrat. And I'm y'all
they might not. They might.
Alone. They might not.
What if they came out voting for Trump? On
that would be, people would be like riot.
Huh?
People would riot. Oh, it would go. God. It would literally go directly against their base audience.
Cowboy Carter.
Cowboy Carter. Well, we need to stop. Saying. We need to stop equating cowboys with whiteness. Truly.
Now we really do. We really do, man.
We should probably stop doing that.
But in my cowboy game in Red Dead Redemption, I had a horse named Midnight, and my name was Arthur Morgan, and I was a white man, and I had John Marston and everybody else. It was a fun old grand time. So there was a white boy. A black boy named Lenny though. His name was Lenny.
But they are just. I know that eventually they're going to come out and be like, vote for this Democratic person. You know who's already done that, and that's Taylor Swift. And I'm like, girly pop, please sit down and be quiet. I don't. But hear anything the crazy about politics from someone who takes a private jet everywhere.
But the issue,
I don't care.
The crazy part is. They just the Swifties just going to do it. And the Swifties are so deep.
And the Swifties
you might as well call them the Beehive, the Swifties, the Barbie, all that. Yeah. Those fans, y'all don't understand how
we should probably do an entire episode on fandoms.
I'll do that. And I'll do that.
And that is psychosis.
Y'all might get a part 2 later on tonight honestly about group psychosis and fandom. This might be a later part 2. We might do a double special today.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We're probably going to record 2 episodes today.
Because that is honestly
on fire, people.
Yes, because there's a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about.
We will sit here and have these conversations by ourselves. We just so happen to be filming said conversations now.
And the crazy part is we're not nervous anymore. We're just kind of just talking and the camera's right there.
Exactly. And I love that for us.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Everything is slowly but surely going to get better. We're going to get better quality mics. We're going to get a better quality camera. We're going to,
We're
move
it's
to
a
a better
work in
place.
progress.
We'll maybe rent a studio to do like professional ones.
Here's the thing. What if
we're gonna get there, guys?
What if this thing catches fire and like y'all just dig just the at home aesthetic? Because a lot of podcasts,
please do, so that way we don't have to spend more money.
I mean,
would really
we can put up stuff. We can make it.
Yeah, we can fill the wall and get some new pillows and maybe a new couch or something.
Yeah,
we can like make it fun, guys.
Yeah.
But right now, this is what we have. So I hope that this is enough. And if it's not, then
you better make it enough.
Make it enough.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. No, but there's just so many. I believe that there really are so many open-minded people on the internet that there are going to be people that listen to this that understand where we're coming from. I really believe that. And so thank you all for being out there and just being willing to listen, because we are an hour into this episode, and if you have made it this far,
you're awesome.
Love.
No, for real.
Much love.
And like all I ask is just like keep just support and just keep an open mind. I'm not even going. My whole purpose is just to bring a higher perspective to a lot of things that we see every day, that we think about, that we interact with. And I just want to ask just to keep an open mind. Mm-hmm. We're not going to sway you. We're just coming with our thoughts and what we have learned. And if you rock with it, you rock with it. If you don't, grab a float. Don't drown in the moat. You got a bit of boat.
My gosh. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm going to pause this one.
Awesome.
So that way we can grab a drink and possibly go again.
All right.
We got this. See y'all soon. Bye.
Peace.